YouTube, what's good? So it's Wednesday, June 16th, and everybody's talking about the recent mass shooting that happened out in Orlando where 50 people were killed. Um, Internet's going crazy about gun control. And the one issue that I wanted to touch on, um, I really wanted to avoid with this channel just news reporting because I feel like so many vloggers do it that I didn't want to just be another vlogger reporting on news. And yeah, people put their little spins to it, and there's different personalities. But the whole purpose of my channel is to not just bring news, current events, but to do it in a way that brings the deeper underlying issue to the table. Not just to tell you, oh, this happened and that happened, and what do you think about it? So what I'm noticing, first of all, I mean, it's very tragic. Prayers out to the families of all those people who lost their lives for no reason. I mean, in 2016, you wouldn't think that we'd still have to deal with these types of issues, but we do. And as long as there's human beings walking this earth, we're always going to have to deal with this type of shit. It's crazy, but it's just a part of life, unfortunately. But the issue I'm having is politicians and even, social media, barbershop talk, hair salon talk. Everybody wants to talk about gun control. We did it when the incident happened in Newtown, Connecticut. We did it with Virginia Tech, and we're doing it again now. And every single time there's a tragic situation and there's loss of life, there's a mass shooting, we're going to talk about gun control. And then it dies down, and then people still talk about it here and there, but nowhere near the scale that we do when something happens. So my thing is, if we're going to be up in arms about gun control and we really want to see it change, then the same intensity that is behind these senseless killings, these mass shootings, your situations like what happened in the movie theater out in Aurora, we need to do it all the time, not just when there's a tragic situation. But I feel like, and this is where people's political IQ doesn't allow them to really think out the the outpouring of concern over gun control and people saying, we need better gun control. And this country will never have gun control that will fully eliminate these types of situations from happening. And I say that because the structure of the government, the way it's structured, and this quote unquote democracy that we live in, which is bullshit. The only way to really have gun control, the true gun control, where we don't have to worry about any of these situations happening, would be to abolish firearms in this country, period. And because Americans are so proud and we're all about democracy and our freedom and our constitutional rights, that's never going to happen. See, people don't get when they ask for certain things what they're really asking for. And there would have to be, pardon me, there would have to be major civil rights violations or major constitutional amendments or total abolishment of certain amendments in the Constitution in order for the types of things that people are demanding to happen, in order for it to happen. Because the system that we live in, certain freedoms that we are afforded and certain freedoms that we fought for hundreds of years, and people aren't going to, the same people who say they want safety and freedom and they want the government to provide that safety and they don't want innocent people being killed, are the same people who, when these things come up and different things are suggested by the government, people say, oh, it's Big Brother. Oh, you're trying to take our civil liberties. Oh, you're trying to, you're becoming a dictator. So we really got to choose. Do we want to continue to see innocent lives being lost, or do we want real change? And do we want this country to end up like countries where the government, for the most part, dictates everything that goes on? Because there are numbers out now after this recent mass shooting that show that this nation, by far, um, has the most incidents of these, what the FBI defines as a mass shooting, which is any situation where four or more people are shot, uh, are wounded, and or killed. Um, that's how they classify what a mass shooting is. Anything four or more. And there's already upwards of almost 200 so far this year. And we're only, what, 6 months into the year? So we're a violent country. We're a violent people. With freedom comes cost. And unfortunately, lives get lost. And unless we're willing to give up a lot of the civil liberties that we've been afforded by our Constitution and the founding fathers of this country, I'm all for it, but I don't think we'll ever really see any true gun control. I mean, there's too many gun enthusiasts. You know, the NRA just will not allow for the type of gun control that would be needed to be implemented in order for us to see these types of tragedies go away. So that's really my take on that. Um, the other thing, when these tragic situations happen, I really don't think it's a time for us to push our political agendas. I mean, yeah, I know how we feel about guns and gun control, and we feel like, half of these people that are able to go out and buy these guns legally or they slip through the cracks wouldn't if gun control was a little stricter. And that may be the case. I'm not prepared to argue against that. But having said that, when there's a tragic situation, it's a time to mourn. It's time for people to come together. It's not really a time to push the political agendas because I feel like it's like a false sense of motivation. The time to push the political agenda is before these situations happen. We had how many years since the Virginia Tech incident? How many years since the Newtown, Connecticut incident? How much time has passed now since the incident out at the movie theater in Aurora? It's like we allow so much time to pass, and even Obama touched on it in a speech that he gave back when the Newtown incident happened. It's like, how much time do we allow to pass in between these incidents that happen, and then we kind of die down, we kind of fall off the wagon, we lose our motivation for the fight for the things that we say we want to change, and then something like this happens, and then everybody's just all up in arms again. The only way to ever really implement any real change is for either all the people to come together for a common cause, or if you're going to keep forcing the government to take action, just be prepared that the actions that the government is going to be forced to take, uh, we might not agree with it as a free nation, as a democratic nation. Um, so that's really all I wanted to touch on. I got another vlog coming soon. There was a news report this morning about a 2-year-old who was snatched by an alligator out near Disney World. So I definitely have to touch on that. Feel bad for those parents, but that's going to be in the next vlog that I upload. But let me know what you guys think about situation out in Orlando, as far as the gun control and the political construct that we're in, and what really you guys think would have to change in order for us to really see real progress and a decline in these types of situations happening. Because I'm sick of it. I'm sure you guys are. And the only way, like I always say, to really start the ball rolling for any type of progression is first to admit that we have a problem. And once we all acknowledge that we have an issue that needs to be addressed, is for us all to discuss. Because the only way to really gain an understanding, a collective understanding about anything, is for us to talk about it. You talk about it, you acknowledge it, and then we come up with a plan collectively to make things better. That's what this country was built on. That's what's going to be the future of this country, if there's going to be a future. And I don't mind if it starts with me. I don't mind starting controversial discussions. I don't mind voicing my opinion, even if it's not the popular one. I don't pretend to know everything, but I do know a little. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.